not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's up, y'all? Today's topic is the harsh reality of being out of status, specifically firsthand accounts of getting stuck abroad. Now, of course, I have a lot of information to share, so I just want to share some information in terms of how to contact us. A lot of people have those questions. We are very fortunate. Thank you for trusting us to ask those questions. Number one, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, the number's right up here. And the website is greencardguys.com, or you can go to freevisaquiz.com. Now, unfortunately, on TikTok, I guess I'm not supposed to really share the phone number or those kind of details. Last time I went as detailed as sharing fees, and yeah, they banned me for like 5 minutes. So we're all about sharing how much things cost. Most lawyers don't like to share. I'm all about it because that's important for you to know, right? Just like buying anything else. So here's the deal. All right. I'm happy to answer any question, even if it's not related to today's topic. But please keep in mind, I can't realistically, humanly possible, answer everyone's question. So we do have a moderator. We have a team member that does pin the comment. I know some people try to, duplicate, copy and paste their question. That's not going to get your question answered any faster. So we have a select. We're going to answer at least 10 questions. It's going to be completely random. And I apologize if we don't answer your question. But if that happens, don't give up hope, folks. Give us a call or just go to our website, answer a couple questions on the forum, and our team will try their best to schedule you for a consultation, a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. 15 minutes. Now, it's not for everyone, okay? Not everyone qualifies because in some scenarios, we're able to email you a free guide, and that should be able enough to point you in the right direction, okay? But if you're wondering about like EB5 investor or consequences of immigration consequences of crimes, hopefully you didn't sign a plea bargain yet, but that does cost more money in terms of a memo, for example, because I'm sure if you want proper legal advice, you wouldn't just rely only on social media for one-on-one advice, okay? You're personal. So that's a disclaimer. I have to share it based on ethics with our state bar. If you want specific information for your situation, it's really in your best interest to contact a lawyer, schedule a meeting. So that's why I mentioned all this in the beginning. Now, let's get down to it. Okay, so in the title, at least on YouTube and Facebook, it mentions firsthand accounts of getting stuck abroad. Now, I mean, now you want to prevent that, right? I know I talk about immigration problems, but I'm also sharing it in a way to help you avoid the problem to happen in the first place. Now, I know it's tough, especially during the pandemic and now after the pandemic. You may have a family member that is sick or in, what we call the deathbed. I hate to talk about this stuff. No one likes to talk about morbid stuff, but if you have a situation where you're stuck emotionally and you really want to go abroad, definitely speak to a lawyer, okay? Immigration lawyer, to understand. But I can share with you what the main consequences are, is that the moment you step your foot outside America, so whether it's Mexico, France, Germany, Mexico, that triggers the 10-year bar. Okay, we call that unlawful presence bar. Okay, now it's 10 years when you have already lived in America for more than 1 year, specifically 365 days. If it's 364 or less, but it's between 180 days and 364 days, then you're subject to the 3-year bar. Now, for most people are not in that situation. Most people, when they contact us, say, oh, so like the dates and all that, you've already lived here for more than 365 plus days without status or overstayed. So knowing that, people still ask, okay, what if I still go outside America? Even if you have a pathway for a visa and you filed it, okay, the 129 petition, and you still need to get a visa abroad, right? or a family visa, you don't want to leave. You cannot leave. All right. No one's going to stop you from leaving. I mean, an immigration attorney like ourselves, we would tell you the consequence of leaving is a 10-year bar, most likely for many people. So before you leave, you want to evaluate. I mean, for us, before any client signs up with us, we always make sure this question. If you entered the US without a visa or you overstayed, we want to see if you're eligible for a 601A application. It is a family unity waiver. If you Google search it, sometimes you'll see a different phrase called provisional waiver, whatever the hell they want to call it. You need that waiver, okay? This is basically the good drug, okay? You need to have it. If you have any possible unlawful presence, you need the waiver. However, legally speaking, you need to be eligible for it. So I know it's strange. Yes, a US citizen adult child can petition for you, but they cannot be a qualifying relative for the 601A waiver. Children are considered a qualifying relative for other things in immigration. It's super frustrating. It's a good thing that adult children are QR, is what we call it, qualifying relative for cancellation removal for people who are in court, and for very specific reasons for 601 application. But for the 601A application, adult children or minor children do not count as qualifying relative. So it's super frustrating because I know many people would be eligible for the waiver if not for that detail there, right? So it's important you know that, because there's no point in starting the process to file a petition unless you have a qualifying relative for the waiver, right? So that's a thing that some lawyers might not tell you. Okay. Of course, the good lawyers like us will tell you that in the front from the get-go. All right. So yeah, that's really the harsh reality. So some people might not be eligible for that waiver. If you're not eligible, then you don't have a shortcut, okay, in terms of reducing that 10-year bar to less time. Now, let's say you are eligible for the waiver and you're already outside America, then you file the 601 application, not the 601A. Now, in that situation, it's even more frustrating. It's frustrating in both ways, really, for other reasons, but this time I'm going to talk about processing times. If you file a 601A application, let's say today, as of the processing timetable right now, it says it's taking 44 months. I haven't checked for a couple of weeks. The last time I checked was 44 months. So we help clients sue USCIS to get those processed for decisions sooner. Now, the thing is, they take a hell of a long time when the 601A. But for some reason, for 601 application, it's like 15 months. So it's much less time. In my understanding, my belief is because they have way more applicants for 601A. So the more people apply, the longer it's going to take. That shouldn't be the case. So they're going to always continue using the pandemic as a reason, as an excuse of why your case is delayed. But that doesn't mean that you can't sue the government. It's your ability. You have the right to sue the USCIS, which is interesting because it's America, right? People love suing each other in America. That's part of what we call due process. It's very important that you understand that. Even if you're a foreign national, you're an immigrant, you overstay your visa, you have the right to sue anyone, really, but USCIS in this situation. All right. So that can kind of give you an idea. Now, let's get down to it. I have a whole slew of things I can always talk about waivers and why you need it before you even leave, if possible. All right. So let me go to the questions. All right. I don't think I have anything on. Okay. So Maria, if you want to tag one, let's pick. Appreciate the likes, folks. Let's pick at least 10 for today. By the way, we do share our code today. Okay, our code today is that if you want to unlock that 15 minutes, all right, the best thing to do is go to our website. But if you just want to ask me a question on TikTok or schedule a meeting directly, you can share the secret code. Okay, and that is. What is that code? Today's code is wellness. That's our theme of the year with the team, actually. The code for today, August 22nd, is wellness. And I know you might think this is silly. Why even deal with codes? We get a ton of inquiries every day I go live, which is amazing. I really appreciate everyone's trust, but this helps our team prioritize because it's you don't have to pay any money for it. So the code helps us a lot. Thank you. Okay, Sharma, marriage-based interview held on 725. Now USCIS actively reviewed. Okay, so that was 725 that was almost a month ago. So it's kind of weird, right? I mean, they're actively reviewing it after you had an interview. Shouldn't it be already done for, like already completed? So you didn't ask a question, but I'm assuming your question is, what the heck does that mean? Um, typically after an interview, your case file goes to a supervisor. Okay, so that could be why. Is there a timetable on that? Not necessarily. Fortunately, knock on wood, with our case experience, number one, we don't accept any fake cases. Not saying that yours is, but for the most part, ours get approved much sooner. Okay, unless someone forgets medical exam, then that's on them. God is the greatest. You need to file. You need to file for your dad and daughter from Africa. You're currently serving military. Okay, I just posted a video, I think this morning. Hopefully it went through. It's always some delays on uploading. But yeah, it's about expedite requests to make cases faster. But yeah, you can. Of course, you can file a petition, and you can. I don't know what your question is, but assuming, can you file for two people? Can you sponsor two people? Yes, you can. Now, of course, your income has to be a certain amount, minimum. We call it minimum poverty guideline. I know it sounds horrendous, but if you go to your computer, Google search 864p, it'll show you that chart. So since you're in the military, number one, I should have said this in the beginning. Thank you for your service. But next thing on the 864p chart, go to middle column. For people in active duty, the minimum poverty guideline, your income has to exceed that amount, and so yours would be less for being in active duty, and that does include people in reserve as well. All right, so at least it should include people in reserve. I have to double check that. Okay, Sammy, what's going on? You got a marriage-based I-130. You've been waiting 2 years. Is that normal? Your husband entered with a work visa. Okay, great. Well, 2 years. So that makes me think that, well, what's up with the delay? Is that because you only filed a petition? Is it because Sammy, are you a resident? If you're a resident, then I highly suggest, when you're eligible, to upgrade your status. Okay, apply to become a U.S. citizen when you're eligible. Now, if you obtain your residency, I'm doing a lot of assumptions here, but if you obtain your residency from, let's say, a previous spouse, then and you're divorced, of course, now, then you have to wait 5 years before you apply to become a citizen. And actually, you don't have to literally wait a full 5 years. You can file up to a 90-day period before that 5 years. Avocado lover. Hey, I love avocados too when they're ripe. Thank you for being honest about CP and processing times. Absolutely. Yeah, it is super frustrating. It's going to continue to be frustrating even though the pandemic is over, but it is important to understand processing times because they don't really have that online for consular processing cases, which is understandable to an extent because there's so many. I mean, we break it down to 3 main steps, but at the same time, even now that some people, y'all have better idea about the processing times, don't let that be a reason, especially for waiver cases application. Don't let that be a reason to delay the filing of your application, because it's not like, okay, you file now or you decide to wait to file later because maybe later is going to be faster. That's not necessarily the case. So I wouldn't wait. Ayo, can you get married after 5 months in the country on B2 and your partner petitioned for you? Yes. In general, we like to wait 3 months. So you're already past that anyway. And you're here in the US. And of course, as an attorney, I can't tell you to overstay, but we have many clients who have overstayed their visa and married to a US citizen. Okay. When you're married to a US citizen, it waives unlawful presence. So you don't need to apply for a waiver unless you have other reasons that the government would find you possibly inadmissible, like misrepresenting. Um, so that's actually a good thing. I need to record a video about this. Is that even though you might be considering to overstay, that is not a misrepresentation unless you got married very soon after entering the country. At least that's what USCIS could argue for others. Is there a pardon or waiver fee for someone that qualifies for 245I? So, Laura, I'm glad you mentioned about 245I. I haven't talked about that in a while, but it's like the golden ticket for people. Okay, you don't. For those that don't know, 245I is an old law that President Clinton extended. Long story short, on history, you have to pay an extra fee, like we call multa or a fine. It's $1,000. Okay. If so, I think that answers your question. I believe, yeah, it's $1,000 extra for that, on top of the 535 for petition and the 1225 for the adjustment of status. Okay, and that includes the biometrics. So 1760 plus 1,000, that's your fee. But you do have to show that you have physical presence December 20th, the year 2000. Okay, so that can show up in many different ways. And no, you don't actually have to have proof of that day. That'd be great. But of course, many people inherently from December 2000, who's going to have it's 2023. Like, that's going to be difficult, right? So it doesn't have to be precisely that day. It could be around there. We ask for, if you have a friend or family that could write a letter to show proof of that. So maybe from that long time ago, could be, school records, something. All right. Even if it's a period of time. What happens if asylum seeker gets married to a U.S. citizen? That's completely normal. That's great. Congratulations. If that's the case for you, you're about to be engaged, or you are, or maybe you're married. You can file for adjustment of status. Well, let me take a step back. It depends if you enter with a visa. If you enter with a visa, then you can apply. You can go through adjustment of status. If you enter without a visa, then the default is consular processing. Okay. But then, just as I mentioned earlier today, since you're an asylum seeker, number one is that hot tip, do not withdraw the asylum application until your residency application 45, or even if you have the consular process, the visa is issued. Okay. Because once you withdraw that application, then it's going to start the clock in terms of unlawful presence. This is also assuming that you timely filed your asylum application before the 1 year of your entry. Man, y'all, I'm dropping a lot of knowledge here that I wish I learned in law school in year one. So if anyone's interested in going to law school, year one is just the basics, okay, which is necessary for things like the cases that Supreme Court hears about. It's it's basically learning how to read law, essentially, like a baby. Year one is babies for lawyers. Did I even say that right? Okay. Caramel Kendall. Sorry, your name cracks me up a bit, especially these days with Barbie talk. So your partner, but with that kind of name in that picture, boss, you're probably a model. I need to check your channel later. So my partner and you have the same insurance, utility bill, rent, and phone bill. Is that enough? Can you do one more thing for yourself? A joint bank account, okay? At least have one bank account together. I recommend a checking account because inherently with a checking account, you're going to show that you have more transaction activity. So even if you don't have one right now, consider waiting one more month. In some scenarios, before 2023, I would say, sure, you want to file right now, just show me proof that you at least joined the account, and we'll wait on the other statements because we always bring the statements at the time of interview. But the trend in 2023 is, if you want the best scenario to have your interview waived, again, assuming that you're Caramel Kendall, that you entered with a visa so that you could file the 45, is that you need to have at least 1 month of transaction activity. And please use the bank account, okay? Please use a bank account. Some people come to us and they're like, well, And we asked the question about this, how many transaction activities, like you don't have to literally look at your statement. I think you have a pretty good idea, at least more than 10. Okay. Because if I'm the USCIS officer, and I think that's why a lot of people like appreciate, one of the reasons people appreciate authorizing us, letting us guide them, is that we try our best to think like USCIS. If we're the officer, which applications we're more likely to deny and which one we're more likely to approve. So someone with less than 10 transaction activity, in my opinion, I'm more likely to deny. Okay. Which is, I know, frustrating because you may, like many people, have many accounts. I get it. But when you're going through an immigration case, you gotta try to get all your as many expenses as possible into that one shared account. Now, if you use, another hot tip, if you use a credit card, I get it. A lot of people trying to use credit card points and all that, get those points. It's like it's like a catch 22 evil in a way. Like, some people, financial gurus say like don't use credit, but hey, you got the points, you can use it for mileage, whatever. Sure, whatever. If you have more expenses on there, that's fine, but also have that as a joint account. Okay. Add your spouse to that account as well. All right. So, and then when you pay off that credit card account, use the main shared joint account as well. So it's basically full circle. I could be a coach on this stuff, basically. All right. But I am not a guru in sharing marriage advice. So if you had advice, share it with us, please. More the merrier. Comment below on marriage advice. And shout out to all the teachers and people that work at schools. Thank you. My 2 kids are in school. Bless the teachers and the support staff. Thank you. So then I can go live and share information with y'all. Thanks for your information. Is elope wedding okay, or USCIS will be against it? Look, you don't have to. Eloping is completely normal and want to normalize it. I've known friends that do it. You don't have to have a formal wedding reception or anything. So the only thing really is, and even you don't have to have a judge. In Texas, we call it Justice of the Peace Judge, JP Judge. You don't have to have a judge. What do you call it? Like signed a certificate of marriage. It could be someone you trust, a friend, family member who's gets ordained through the state of Texas. It could be that person that signs off on your marriage certificate as well. So consider that. Yeah, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a formal wedding reception. Your case is not sufficiently stronger just because you spent thousands and thousands of dollars on a wedding. So please know that. If I'm going to share any financial advice, please don't go into debt just to have a marriage formal wedding. Okay. Please stay within your financial means. We have many clients who have received a resident status who did not spend thousands of dollars on a wedding reception, okay, or didn't even have one at all, okay. But that in that situation, that's definitely, you really need to have a joint bank account. Man, I get a little excited to share this information. So this is a good time to share. You're welcome. Use that secret code wellness. Okay. The secret code is wellness. If you want to DM me on TikTok, or even if you text us and want to talk to our team, it also helps them prioritize you to talk to you sooner, because we do get a lot of inquiries. And I do also want to share some love, value to y'all. Thank you for tuning in, because we do get inquiries from other people who don't find us on social media. And I know your time is very valuable. So I want to see if I can answer a couple more questions. Your fiance came on a student visa, but you're getting married now. How to adjust that? So, okay, great. Thanks for sharing that information. So your fiance entered with a student visa. So, and I'm assuming your fiance may have overstayed the visa by now, but even if he or she didn't, that's likely about to happen, unless you continue, on your fiance continues on student visa. But if your fiance doesn't really want to go to school, it's okay, as long as the sponsor is a U.S. citizen. You can overstay your visa, because when you're sponsored by a U.S. citizen, your unlawful presence is waived. So what I'm trying to say is you better really love each other and be nice, because if the marriage falls apart, you're going to accrue unlawful status. Heads up. So that's the other reason, by the way, when I mentioned don't withdraw your asylum application, that's the other reason why. Okay, you just got U.S. citizenship. Congratulations to you. Ms. Zaragoza, your minor son is here, but on B1, B2, should you file N600 or just the regular petition? Just based on that fact alone, you should be able to file N600, but I do recommend you review, of course, the instruction page on the USCIS website, because when it comes to like automatic citizenship, it gets a little wonky. It depends on the situation. So check on that, okay? Or of course, contact us, DM us the secret code. Wellness. Yeah, and I appreciate y'all following me. If you don't mind, give it a follow, okay? Right up here on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, down below, I think, somewhere. Let's see, what's another question, Maria? Okay. 3 more minutes, and then I have to go eat. I don't want to fall apart here. And then another team meeting after that. Your case is outside processing time. What is next? I would need to know more information. Okay, Wolf Unleash. But in general, you could submit an inquiry. Okay, with USCIS, will the inquiry do anything? Probably not. They're probably just going to say, well, they don't apologize. They don't say I'm sorry, but we're continuing background check or something ridiculous like that, or we'll get back to you in 30 days. But even if they say something like that, 30 days, that doesn't mean your application is going to be approved in 30 days. That'd be wonderful. So it just depends on. Oh, you're saying my USCIS, so maybe you're meaning your account. So you need to actually submit an inquiry, okay? And Google search that USCIS inquiry, I think. But once you get to the main website, you click on tools and resources, okay? So hopefully that helps. You don't need a lawyer to submit inquiry, but of course we're happy to help if it's true, even if it's not outside the processing time on the timetable. In many cases, we can still sue USCIS or the State Department to get your case processed faster, okay? So I am in a group of what we call federal litigation in our association, AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, and us, collective in general, with many discussions, we're trying to find ways to process your case faster. But ultimately, you need to take the step to even authorize us, whether it's our law firm, Team Law Group, or some other law firm. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you take action on your case, okay? Because many of y'all have been waiting like a couple of years, 4 years, and you filed your application, it's just stuck, hasn't made any movement. Don't let it sit there. USCIS does not care about you. I hate to say this, you're just a number to USCIS. In fact, I'd be really surprised if you call USCIS hotline and say, "Hi, Bob." I don't think they would do that. Some restaurants do, but don't expect USCIS to care. You're one of hundreds of thousands of people who applied. So unfortunately, filing a mandamus lawsuit might be in the cards. Might be necessary. Hi, Pella. Nice to see you. I just want to answer a couple on YouTube real quick. Probang Pasikat. Okay, your perm just got approved. Congratulations. Okay, you just got your stay in the U.S. will max out until September 28th, 2023. Ooh, but your visa bulletin is not current. Okay, well, you maxed out. Well, I think you're talking about maybe like J1 visa, H1B. Have you talked to a lawyer about possibly trying to extend it past the max out, the 6 years, if you're here on H1B? One scenario is because you already did file your perm, so depending on timing, maybe you're able to file extension for 3 more years. So don't give up. There are options to what we call exceptions to the max rule. The worst case scenario is we call recapture time. So anytime that you've been outside the U.S. and you could prove it through like flight itinerary or stamps in your passport, we can count those days and submit a extension of status on your non-immigrant visa. Okay. Oh, you got B1, B2. Well, I'm surprised you got perm approved. When you say perm, it's usually what we call labor certification. that part of it. But maybe, oh, you extended 2 times already? I'm impressed. Well, we've had someone contact us the other before and say like they got extended like several times, but your chances. I wish you the best, but your chances are going to be significantly reduced to get it renewed or extended that way. I mean, I don't know your reasoning on extension, of course, but I wouldn't rely on it to for the next stage on your employment case. Okay, but probang, I think there's a good situation that I would have more questions on your case, your situation. So you know what to do. Give us a call or fill out the form here or go to greencardguys.com. I have a lot of options, whatever is easier for everyone. All right, Hinaro, April 12th, your petition in 765 was approved, but not your 485. That April 12th? Man, okay, it's August now. Usually it's like the next day you will get approval. Oh, well, you're F2A. Okay, that's why. Are you, Hinaro, are you here on non-immigrant visa? Because if you're not, then you're going to get denied eventually to say, well, you failed to maintain status. So, and I know even when before it showed current on the visa bulletin or your prior date has reached on the visa bulletin, they don't care. I hope you heard me. Okay. They don't care. All right. So hopefully that gives you an idea on that. Okay. Let me share my screen. And that's why I was saying earlier that if you're sponsored by a U.S. citizen, that waives the unlawful presence and it waives the requirement, or that waives essentially waives the requirement of maintaining non-immigrant status. Okay. Yeah, you're Hinari from Mexico. Okay. F2A. Let me share my screen on YouTube since you're on there. Oops. Okay, present here, share my screen. Visa bulletin. Okay, so here it is. Oops, let me hide your comment here. Scroll down here. You can scroll down. You may be familiar with chart B and chart A. So chart B is what people use on when people file for adjustment in America with family preference. So you're from Mexico, F2A. We're working on cases in September 2023. Okay, so yeah, it's a complicated explanation. I can't get into it right now. So if you want some more advice, give us a call or fill out the form. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, folks, if you don't mind, if you appreciate the way we share the way we share information, if you can share our video to others or save the video, okay, for the future. And then in the meantime, if you can go to reviewtinglaw.com, it means the world to our team. And especially if you already contacted one of our, gave us a call, or we called you back and you talked to one of our CARES team members, they would certainly appreciate it too. They care about customer service, but they certainly care about it more because we provide them bonuses at the end of each month. So please mention a name. We really appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay, Hinaro, you got a TN visa extended for 3 years to 2025. Okay, thank goodness. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. I'm happy to hear that, Hinaro. You don't need to apply for a waiver. Hopefully you don't have to in the future. Okay, this is the last one for now. Awasar, how long does it take petition for your sister if she's already in the U.S. and under DACA and you're a U.S. citizen? I mean, the processing times, I don't have it open right now, but processing times are usually like at least 2 years, could be longer. And it actually doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter if it takes a long time on the petition for an F4 category. Because the longer it is, it actually would benefit if you had a niece or nephew, okay, to prevent age out of 21 years old. So, and also because processing times are ridiculous. Actually, well, you're on the person that asked this question on TikTok, but let me share here on YouTube and Facebook real quick on, okay, this chart B on family base. So you can see whether it's basically any country, but especially Mexico. For people in Mexico, they can't even do the next step after the petition until the prior date shows April 2001. So they're taking a hell of a long time. And then most other countries, Philippines 2004, India 2006, China 2008, and all the countries 2008. So what that means, priority date typically is a date that you filed the petition. It's not always perfectly that date, exactly the date, but so yeah, it's F4. That's the reason. If you're in petitions still processing, it doesn't matter because you're still waiting for step 2. All right. So hopefully that helps. Okay. In terms of that. Emily, great question. I think I cover this almost every day, but the key thing is if someone is out of status and if someone had filed a family preference or employment preference. If you're sponsored by a U.S. citizen, then this doesn't matter. You're not gonna get denied for failure to maintain status. All right. Hopefully that helps. All righty. Okay, folks. I appreciate it. See you tomorrow. Take care. And you know how to contact us. See ya.